What's going on, everybody? So in this video, we are going to be covering what's going on in the NFT market, some major NFT drops that just happened. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Now, first thing we got to talk about is what's going on in the market. So Ethereum looking at that 1.5-ish kind of range. So if you kind of zoom out and look at the past 7 days, it's kind of been steady for the most part. It seems like there's a little more interest in Ethereum and people are kind of just holding it. If I were to just guess and roll the dice, I would say it would be around this range for a bit until there's some kind of catalyst or until the crypto Illuminati decides to pump up the prices of everything, right? Who knows what really goes on behind the scenes. But now let's go ahead and dive into what's going on in the NFT markets. Now, the first project I wanted to talk about is going to be Art Gobblers. So we did cover them not too long ago when they pre-mint, and actually at the time of this recording, they literally just minted. And from my understanding, it was a free mint. You know, the art is cool. It's positioned as an experiment, so it's not really promising like the world or anything like that. It's just kind of saying like, hey, this is an experiment. The interesting part here is that when I'm looking at the transactions on Art Gobblers, people are buying this for like 15 ETH, 15 ETH, 13 ETH. So it's kind of crazy. I'm not even sure why it's selling for so much. And I think no one really predicted it. I think it just kind of happened. Maybe there's some things that we can learn behind the scenes, but for now, I'm just kind of watching the volume and the transactions to see what goes on. So if I learn anything new, I'll give you guys an update on this. Now, another project that's kind of crushing it right now is going to be CryptoDickbutts. We actually tweeted this from the Parallax account, so make sure to follow that if you want the latest updates on some breaking news. So CryptoDickbutts, which was a project that launched quite a while ago, it's kind of been pumping quite a bit ever since Elon Musk tweeted this picture of a crypto dickbutt. You know, it's really just a meme, honestly, right? So if Elon Musk tweets about it, a lot of people see it, then a lot of people want to buy it, and that's really reminding me of like when he was pumping Dogecoin at one point. It's just attention rules this economy. But be careful about this, because as quickly as something goes up, it can go down. And if you're probably watching this, we're going to publish this a day later, so it might be too late. Now, in other news, we're going back in history right now to like last year. Force, which was one of the hottest projects in NFTs at one point. I was in the space at that time. I remember when Logan Paul bought the Bumblebee NFT for like a ridiculous amount, and maybe the team wasn't as well managed and they weren't really thinking long term. It just kind of put it out. It caught fire because so much people were interested in NFTs, and then now it's like, you know, it kind of died off. But it seems like creators of Force are going to sell this to a buyer. Maybe there's an offer that's going to happen, right? And so this is kind of reminds me of Pudgy Penguins was bought from another person, right? Pixelmon was also sold to another company as well. So it seems like these companies that have capital that want to move into the NFT space, they don't necessarily want to create a brand on their own. They want to buy a brand that everybody kind of knows and then just take it to the next level, right? So Force, everybody knows Force if you were in NFTs way back in the day. There is a nostalgic brand. It does have that anime vibe, and so I can kind of understand where the value comes from, but now it all depends on what price you get it and what can you do with that IP if you outright buy the owners of the project and just take complete control over it, right? And I think that's what most people want to do. You know, in October, I'm sure there was a lot of news and rumors about this going on even before I'm covering it today, but the price did pump up a little bit, and depending on who the buyer is, and maybe they want to sweep the floors or something like that, you never know. Or maybe there's a lot of VCs involved who are buying it together. A lot of times that could directly or indirectly influence the floor price. So just keep that in mind if you know what I'm saying. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is actually a tweet from Alex, who is the CEO of Nonsen. And then he said, 2023 will be the shipping season of Web3 games. There's going to be a lot of disappointments, but there's going to be some gems. So I actually agree with this, where, you know, in 2021, a lot of people were raising a lot of money to build these games. A lot of people launching coins, some people launching NFTs to fundraise for their game. A lot of project founders, honestly, like just taking the money and disappearing, and the game is like trash, right? I'm pretty sure that you're going to get a lot of bad games that look like they have no effort even though they raised X amount of millions. That's just the reality of how this space works. But other people who raise a lot of money, maybe VC money as well, on top of coin sales and NFT sales, some people are actually trying to make a really decent game and trying to build like $1 billion game, right? So, you know, I want to see who's a real one, who's actually trying, who's making an effort, and who's just not there. I would make a guess a significant amount of all NFT volume actually goes into gaming, because it's one of the most obvious ways to use digital assets, right? So if you look at Bored Ape Yacht Club, right, they're going to make Metaverse. You know, Artifact by Nike, they're probably going to build something that is game-like, right? Because they have all these assets, especially with the Project Animus, which is a new airdrop, like monster kind of feeling going on. So it's like everyone's kind of pushing towards a game. I would even guess Azuki is probably shooting for a game as well, right? Just because like anime ties really well with games. Like if you look at Genshin Impact, Naraka Blade Point, these are very popular games that make a lot of money. So I don't see why Azuki shouldn't entertain the idea since they have the IP. And if you want to learn more about what's going on in the space when it comes to NFTs and gaming, make sure to pick up a Parallax Genesis, because we're going to give you all the inside information information before anyone else gets it. We also have online educational courses for those who are interested in that. They're also live, and we're going to have exclusive interviews. So if that sounds something good for you, check out the Parallax Genesis. Our OpenSea link is in the description. So the next piece of news that I do want to talk about is what's going on with Twitter. So as you know, Elon Musk has successfully acquired Twitter. So now he is going to be making a lot of changes to the company. One of the first ones that I found interesting was that the account Twitter Dev, which is the development team of Twitter, is going to include links from Rarible, Magic Eden, Dapper Labs, Jump Trade. Surprised I don't see OpenSea over here. Maybe something's going on, right? Overall bullish for the space, because if these links are being put into Twitter more natively, then hopefully more people are encouraged to buy more NFTs and the space becomes more healthier and it doesn't die out, right? The other thing that's really interesting is that Elon Musk signals and he wants to revive Vine potentially, right? So Vine was one of the originators when it comes to short form content. Think of it like TikTok before TikTok came out, but it died pretty much, right? So maybe he's going to revive it because, you know, short form content is one of the most popular ways to consume content these days. There's a lot of money to be made there. There's a lot of attention there. People have short attention spans, and it also allows regular people to become creators because it's hard to make a 10-minute video like I am right now, but to make a 20-second, like, here's how you make money with NFTs, that's going to be much easier to. And I hope that Twitter has short form content. That way the Parallax can actually do more content on Twitter and have more of a presence there. So looking forward to the future of video. And the last thing that we're going to talk about Twitter is that Twitter is also thinking about charging $20 per month for verification. The details of this is not really clear. Like, is it that you can pay $20 and apply to be verified and it's easier to get verified? Like, what's the situation, right? Because when it comes to Twitter, like, a lot of people are using these weird back channels to like get a blue check mark. A couple months later it disappears and you can't do anything about it, right? Which is like, it's kind of sketch, honestly. If there's a more authentic way to do it, a monthly payment that you have to do, and then they actually take the time to make sure you're a real person and you're legit, I'm down with that a lot more than whatever it is right now, right? Even I don't have a blue check mark. So overall, a lot of changes to Twitter, and this is actually pretty huge for the Web3 space, crypto NFT space, because a lot of us actually hang out on Twitter. A lot of us get our news from Twitter, and that's where everything kind of happens. So Twitter is like the bloodstream of Web3 right now, and if Elon Musk owns it and he has ways to monetize it, that's great for them as a company, but also for content creators like myself and other people as well, or even NFT brands. You got to pay attention to this, because when there are slight shifts in the meta or like what's working, you know, those are the opportunities where you might get a disproportional amount of advantage for very little work just because you're on early to a trend. So if you're a content creator, make sure to pay attention to that. And if you want to get closer to me and learn how I create content, make sure to pick up Parallax Genesis, where you can talk directly to me and the Genesis chat and everything like that, and I can teach you maybe a little bit about what we got going on. We did talk about gaming earlier, but I want to mention Digi Daigaku, which is most funded VC NFT project, right? And it's interesting because they had a free mint. If you have the NFT, you're going to get free whitelist spots to villain mint. You know, long story short, Giancarlo actually summarized it in a much easier form. You have the Genesis Digi. This is going to get you a hero, which is going to get you a dark spirit, which gets you potions, which lets you mutate your villain into a super villain. So similar to the Mutant Ape and Bored Ape serum kind of thing. The goal of projects in general, not just Digi Daigaku, but for pretty much like any project in the NFT space as it is now, is really to create digital assets. Theoretically, those digital assets don't have any value, just like how a random token doesn't have any value until someone decides that they want to buy it and put value into it. So the goal of these assets, and just call them tokens in general, right? Because NFTs are technically non-fungible tokens, is to get as much money into your ecosystem as possible to make it real. Because if you're the person that prints the money, essentially, you can create these digital assets out of thin air. Technically, you can print money, you can use it for different things, and then the outside world will trade their Ethereum for your digital assets that cost you almost nothing to make, right? It's all about increasing the market cap of like all the assets you have combined together, and then that's like a bigger game, right? And then with that, there's more attention, there's more money involved, more emotions involved, more the community's gonna go harder for you because they have so much money invested into you. The community's louder, so it's easier to do marketing, and when it comes to onboarding the next wave of people that want to come in, you have this army of advocates that essentially keep promoting it, maybe because they love the thing, maybe because they have a lot of money invested. Either way, they're still promoting it, and then more people want to buy in, right? So that's essentially the game of how it goes, and the whole justification of why these things make sense is because there's going to be a game and people are going to buy digital assets, and somehow the money's going to flow back to investors who bought these NFTs, and that's how the game goes. For me, looking at Digi Daigaku, I think it's interesting. I think it's too early to tell, but if they make a pop-in game and everyone's buying these digital assets like skins, then hey, it could work, right? Or it could completely fail. You know, I'm not saying if it will or not, I'm just saying that these are the things that I'm thinking about when I look at a project like this. So with that said, that is everything we got to cover for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this, and make sure to join our Discord if you want to chat about what's going on in the space and maybe get some early news on what's going down. So with that said, that's everything for this video, and I will see you in the next one.